Gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, without a doubt. So it's a new band, Pretty Much Never.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
That's right.
I found you guys. Well, you guys actually found me. I guess you could say you guys reached out to me and said what's up because we have now. We'll go around in a minute, but two of you are in LA currently. One is in Ontario, correct, Canada?
Yep.
And but one of you has roots to close to where I'm from, which is in Jim Thorpe. I'm from Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area, but one of you is from the Jim Thorpe area, which is not far from where I am. So it's funny how the internet is very as big as it is, it's also very small world, you know. But I would love to be introduced to you guys. I've listened to your music. I think it's awesome. And I want to talk about it because and I read that you call yourself a punk band, and I want to talk about that because I think that's the wrong genre. I think you guys got to change that. But let's go around the room here and intro each other.
All right, I'll go.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. So I'm the one. My name is Paul Orsolak. I'm from the Cole region, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Found my way out to the West Coast because I'm a music teacher. I went to school and studied music education, and I teach instrumental music in the public school system out here. And
the elementary schoolers, right?
Yeah, actually elementary. I've done all grade levels, but I'm currently teaching elementary beginning band. And due to a similar colleague, that's how I actually met Dennis out here. It's like, 2 years now or so, I would say.
Like right before COVID, I think, or during it.
Yeah. During COVID, we had to teach online and everything went virtual. So I had been looking for somebody to create music with out here. I didn't really know anybody, coming from a small town like northeastern PA out to LA. It was really different. And I happened to mention to Dennis that I was into Fever 333. We were actually judging a saxophone recital online.
Yeah, I'm like a saxophone player. So I was like adjudicating his saxophone students. And like between kids, you were like, yeah, there's this bands. They're kind of weird. I was like, oh, I know Fever 333.
Yeah.
So then we started talking about music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and we found a similar interest, and I was bugging Dennis for just like some riffs that we can maybe like play around with and create off of. And he ended up sending me what was to become Left Brain Loud, which was one of our singles that we released. And around the same time, we were looking for a singer. We were just doing instrumental stuff. And we looked honestly for months, like just nothing would pan out. We were just looking for the right fit. People would be down, and then all of a sudden they would just disappear, and nothing came to fruition. And then literally like out of nowhere, Seth and I connected on Instagram. Seth was just randomly following people, and we asked him to track on Left Brain Loud, and that's honestly where the first demo came from.
Yeah.
I think that's how I started following you guys. It was just randomly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
That's how
going.
it goes.
I was doing this thing where I would, if I was interviewing a band or whatever, I would go to a picture they posted, and whoever liked that picture, I figured, all right, if I follow these people, they're obviously interested in this person. So once I post the interview, they'll kind of be drawn to it, and here we are.
Sure.
It's creepy, right? Creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
but
It's
it
the
works.
2022 way.
It works. It works.
yes. So, I just told the guys the other night that, the algorithms were definitely in our favor with that, because it was sort of by chance this all happened. And, we love it. It just started off as a fun project, and we had a lot of success with it. We all have very similar music taste and resonate with our music, and we just want to take it to the next level, basically.
Yeah. Paul, what's your role in the band?
So I'm the percussionist, drummer.
Cool.
That's my thing. That's what I studied in school. I was a percussion major. But yeah, all things drum with Pretty Much Never.
Cool. Dennis, how about you?
Hi, I'm Dennis. I'm the other guy in LA, if you can tell by how we're sitting next to each other. In the bands, I do, I guess, everything that's not drums or singing yet, because we just recorded a song where I have to sing on it. But in this EP, yeah, I'm like the guitar player. Um, yeah, like Paul, we're in the same profession. I'm a public school music teacher, so I teach high school music, which for me means like guitar classes, a songwriting music production class, where I just like teach high school kids like Logic Pro, basically. And I run my school's marching band. So it's like a weird dual musical life that I get to live, which is pretty cool. My musical background, this is such a weird answer. It's like classical saxophone. Like my college music degrees were like on saxophone for like music ed and music performance and stuff. Um, but I was always the like academic musician that was like a secretly like closeted metalhead that loved like metal and rock and punk and whatever. So this is kind of my outlet for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, people start bands and they perform and play and record a certain type of music, but it's always interesting to hear who they kind of like gravitate to, because oftentimes it's not what they're performing or recording. It's wild.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's
Yeah.
true. That's definitely our situation, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Seth in Canada.
Yeah. All the way up north. It's cold out here. Yeah, I'm Seth. I'm the vocalist. I play guitar and drums and piano as well, so I kind of have that background as well. I went to school in Toronto. I went to Seneca College for independent music production, actually. So I have that a bit of that background. Yeah, I love to collaborate with these guys, and even though we're far apart, we still manage to make really amazing things, and we have fun doing it. So we want other people to experience that as well.
Great. Yeah. So we talked about it's a new band. Was it like 6 months old? Less than a year? A year?
6 months going on like a year. I don't know when we should say we started the bands, because that song Left Brain Loud has existed for like a year and a half, probably.
Okay.
We just had this done song while we were like shopping around for singers. So maybe when we found Seth, that's when our band started, which was
Yeah, I
It's
think it
about a
was
year ago, I think.
almost exactly a year ago, right? Yeah,
Wow.
about a year.
Yeah. So new band, pretty much never. Where did that name come from?
From Paul.
Yeah, I just when we were thinking about band names, the original name that was on the docket was 15-Minute City, and that's what our album became named. And yeah, I think pretty much never was. I just one day I heard somebody say the phrase, and I thought that it kind of stuck out, and it was
Like rolls off the tongue well.
yeah,
Pretty much never.
Pretty much never. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just told the guys about it, and we just ended up rolling with it because it was, pretty neutral, and we weren't 100% sure, what kind of name would vibe with our music as we're writing our music. We have a lot of music, more than that's out right now, and so we're just trying to find ourselves and experiment and
And we weren't sure like what style of music we would end up putting out, right? So we
Right,
wanted a
yeah.
name that was I guess bland enough. That's not a good word for it,
Yeah.
but
Kind of like neutral.
general enough, neutral enough to kind
Yeah.
of suit whatever might come to be.
Yeah. You said you have a lot of music, more than what you have put out. And what I find fascinating is you have an EP, it's a 5-song EP called 15-Minute City, which you mentioned. And you guys released that without the three of you ever formally meeting.
That's
Correct.
true.
That's right. Yeah.
So again, internet, bringing the world or making
Yeah.
it smaller, so to speak. But talk a little bit about that process. I mean, like I said, it's 5-song EP. It's really good. I'll let you
Thank you.
guys talk
Thank you.
about it, and I want to talk about the genre that you're kind of labeling yourself in. But you talk about the process of being in different areas, never formally meeting and recording an EP.
Yeah, so for the most part, like, I guess with some exceptions, for the most part, the songs kind of start like from me or Paul. Often what I'll try to do, I think at least this is true for the EP, for the songs on the EP at least. Um, the songs will kind of start with me just jamming on guitar. I'll usually record pretty much a full song of just guitars and maybe bass guitar. And then maybe some like synths. There's some synths and electronic stuff in the songs. Um, Maybe if I'm feeling it, I'll program a little drum part for Paul to listen to. But I try to send Paul just like a blank slate of guitars. And then Paul will jam with that, record some drum parts. And we don't do like final recordings. Like we usually take a couple passes at it, right?
Yeah.
But basically, Paul and I will go back and forth with lots of instruments until we have what we believe to be pretty much a finished song, instrumental wise. And then we send it to Seth. And I don't know what Seth does to write his parts, but we kind of like flesh out instruments, send it vocals, and then kind of wait for vocals to be done. And then maybe do like a second round of all of that. And usually in those two passes, which I mean, has been a week, has been months, depending on the song, we kind of end up with the finished product. Yeah, I know, Seth, what do you do once you get a song?
Well, I'll receive the track from you guys, and I'll give it a first listen to, whether I'm at work or I'm at home. And then throughout the day, it's kind of just running through my head. I'm humming up melodies while I'm cooking or whatever. And then I sit down and I just play the track and like I'm recording. As it's recording, I'm just sort of freestyling along and humming melodies, throwing in ideas. I do that a few times and then I listen back and I take things I want and I take out things I don't want. And I keep doing that until, I've got more structure to it and I go from there. That's pretty much my process.
And I mean, as far as what you're writing about, where does that come from? I always find it fascinating to kind of see like the lyrics come first, does the music come first? In this case, it's the music. But like, how do you apply lyrics to music? And I find myself asking this question a lot because I always say like, if I have no musical talent whatsoever, I couldn't write a song, I couldn't play a song. But I feel like if I was to record a song or write a song, it would have to be an emotional thing, like whether it's like anger or sadness or whatever it might be. So how do you take, just you're given a music, and how do you apply lyrics to that?
Well, when I was younger, I would, be feeling an emotion and I would translate that emotion to the guitar or the drums. And that was sort of the way it was kind of like a therapy. And in this way, it's kind of reversed in a way. I'm getting an emotion from them. And I try to imagine what this emotion would be. And sometimes the emotion that the song translates to me is exactly how I'm feeling. And I can just quickly, come up with lyrics and, a theme for the song right away. Sometimes I have to try a little harder to come up with some sort of theme or metaphor or something to start writing on. It can be tough, but sometimes it can be easy. It really depends.
I always say that like people are born with like that part of their brain or whatever it might be to be able to do that kind of stuff. Just because like I'm convinced. I one time almost quit my job to become a barber, and then I looked around me and I saw that all the barbers were also very talented with music. So I feel like the arts and all that kind of stuff kind of all are like together. And I didn't do that because I was afraid that I wouldn't be good at it because I'm not creative at all.
Hmm.
Oh, we got to get you on our next song. I'm sure you're fine. I'm sure you're more creative than you think
All right.
you are. We'll have you cut our hair while you make a song. That'll be good.
I just thought like being a barber would have been cool just because like,
It's a cool job.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it too. I'm like, I don't want to stand on my feet all day, every day for 40 years.
Yeah.
Like all
Have
those
you
guys
ever
have
heard of hair splinters?
no.
Oh, my aunt's a hairdresser. Swells up your thumb if you get it in there, and yeah,
Oh,
it's
Oh, they get
awful.
actual hair. Oh,
yes,
that's
yes.
Yeah.
I've actually like I tend to like fuck with my beard a lot, and I sometimes yeah, I got one of those before. They're bad. But yeah, I just feel like there's very like people are born or maybe they're raised or kind of like exposed to that kind of thing at a very early age, and if you don't get it, it's gone. They always say it's
Hmm.
not too late to start, right? But like
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to pick up a guitar tomorrow. Not going to happen.
I think it's everybody has something. I think that's like a big thing with being a music teacher and in education is that
Mm.
whether it's through music or through surfing, skateboarding, whatever it is, like that you can express yourself through whatever it is.
That's a good point. Everyone has something. I think a big thing in this band is like discovering what we have. Like, I don't know about you guys, but it's harder for me to sit down and think, I'm going to write this kind of song. Like, I'm going to do this.
Right.
I just kind of like make sounds until I find what's there.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Mm.
Let's talk about the sound. Like I said, I read that says punk.
Okay. Yeah. What's our sound and why are we not a punk band? I
I
kind of
don't know.
agree with you.
I'm
We
just
have a
not
punk
hearing
song.
I'm not hearing punk. Like there's some punk like aspects to it, but like so I'm gonna preface it with this. I hate doing this because I'm gonna tell
Label
you
us, box us in, do it.
no, I'm gonna tell you what I hear a little bit, and I hate doing this because I always get scared that I'm gonna say you guys sound like X, Y, or Z,
You're
and
good.
you're like, oh, I fucking hate that band, you asshole. Like
No, you're good. You're safe with us.
that happened once, but I'm hearing in these songs some 30 Seconds to Mars.
I've gotten that once before.
For
Okay,
sure.
Someone
Yeah.
has told me 30 seconds to Mars. I hear that.
all right, and Seether,
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have
right?
thought C there.
No,
S-
yeah.
So
That
specifically, like, so I hear a lot of like early 2000s, early to mid 2000s
Yeah.
in your music. You have a song called Dream State, and I was listening to it, and I'm like, that sounds like a Seether song, and the Seether song it sounds like is called Driven Under. So you guys want to check that out
Mm.
after the fact.
Okay. I don't know that
yeah.
song. I'll have to
Yeah,
check it out.
but both two of my favorite bands. So I'm not surprised why I'm kind of gravitated to your music. So, but that's what I'm hearing on for the first couple listens. Which and I don't think either one of them are punk at all.
Definitely
What,
not.
what would you
No.
classify them as?
Those bands, I mean alternative rock, maybe a little grunge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
use that word a lot.
Yeah, grunge seems to come
Grungy.
up.
That's an
Yeah.
adjective that comes up a lot between the
Yeah.
three of us. Um, no, I agree with you. We struggled to like when you have to select the genre that you're uploading music for. We're like, "Ah, I don't know. And the songs are all different. That's like a common excuse.
Yeah.
We definitely I definitely think of us somewhere in alternative hard rock
Yeah.
land. I've been telling people our song sounds like you're gonna laugh at me for this, but if our songs sound like if Juice World made a rock album, like because of
Okay.
how the way
Yeah.
Seth sings, it's
Yeah.
very like kind of airy auto tune, especially on Dream State. Like that might be a good example of it. Yeah, like Juice World on distorted guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one song that at the beginning kind of sounded like it had a hint of Angels and Airwaves.
Oh, what song is that?
I can't remember. Can't remember. I should wrote it down.
Probably like favorite hated. That'd be
Maybe.
my guess. I got people have told me Angels and Airwaves. People have told me
Yeah.
like Sum 41, just
Mhm.
so kind of in that circle. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely has hints of pop punk. Um, I think we each, based on what, and I was just talking to Dennis about this the other day. I think based on what we're listening at the time that we write a song and all of our music, whatever attracts us, you know, of course those elements come together. You know, so me being a drummer, you know, I'm naturally attracted to a lot of like busier music, a little bit on the harder side. But I also have that appreciation and love for softer music too, because I'm, you know, learned all the instruments in school and things like that. Um, I think Seth definitely brings a little bit of a hip hop flavor to it. Maybe I'm like where the punk comes in, the grungy punk.
I think you
Dennis
are.
has the metal and grunge as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So get rid of the punk. Do you like
Okay.
Alternative.
Yeah,
grunge
Paul.
slash alternative
Paul wrote our
slash
bios.
punk
It's his fault.
slash?
No, I think that was Seth.
Oh, that's Seth's bio.
No, I'm all,
It wasn't
We're
me
gonna
though.
name
Definitely
names.
wasn't me.
what's also cool about music is like it's subjective, right? It's like, you
For
know,
sure.
for
Mhm.
what I hear isn't what, you know, Joe Blow hears either. So,
Right.
which is one thing I love about music. I just
Sure.
can't play it, can't
Yeah.
perform. I learned landslide like the first like 10 seconds of landslide like
Uh-huh.
back in 2006. And that was as far as I got.
Do you still remember it?
Nope.
No.
Couldn't. I still have that guitar. It's has moved with me to 4 or 5 different places now.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, it was a very beginner type guitar, but I still have it.
Acoustic, electric.
Acoustic, yeah. Like I said, I was
Acoustic,
not.
nice.
I had every intention of like doing this, but like it's like working out. They always say, you know, if you don't have time, it's
Yeah.
just an excuse. Like just make the time. But I just like I had so many things I was doing at that time in my life that just didn't like it didn't it included music, just not playing it. It just like I was following bands, I lived with bands, I wrote about bands, I helped promote bands, and that was like enough for me. I'm like, I don't need to play.
That's cool. That's an
Right.
important
Yeah.
side of this whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work for an Entertainment Weekly newspaper, which
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was awesome. But as the times changed and the internet came or took over, I should say, it just kind of killed it. But it is what it is. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
True.
But so Paul and Dennis, you guys teach music in a
Yeah.
public school system in LA.
Mhm.
Yes.
What is
LA
that
County.
like?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is that like?
It's good, man.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to talk shit. I'm just like it's like
No.
I mean, teaching children in general. I mean, I feel like in this day and age, especially, is like a challenge or could be.
Yeah, we have pretty different jobs. I mean, the difference
Yeah.
between elementary music or elementary school and high school is really different.
Sure.
I don't know. It is weird. It's weird for me. I feel weird sometimes teaching high school. I'm 25, and I don't know if this is a thing for like all 25-year-olds. I don't feel that much difference than I did when I was a teenager.
Sure.
Like in my head, I'm still kind of there. So I almost feel like I'm growing up like with the students still. I'm not this like all-knowing adult who's here to like lay down the rules. And yeah, I don't know. At least that's how I saw teachers when
for
I
sure.
was their age.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. It's a really interesting job. Sometimes I even forget that it's like about the music. Like I really like being around the kids. You just meet people, and you know, it helps me like learn about the world, because you see how like different people are raised and what their values are. So it's a really cool job where I don't know, at least I feel really connected to all those kids. It can also be a very like isolating job because you're just in your classroom all day. You're the only one there. It's not like you're in a big office space with like people to talk to and hang out with. We've talked about this. It can be pretty tiring because once the bell rings, or like once you're on campus, it's go time, and you have to be like turned on all day, until you can finally leave. I don't have much of a frame of reference on like how it is now. Paul, you're super old. You can answer how kids change over time.
Yeah. No, I think you know, I come from northeastern Pennsylvania in the coal region, so I grew up very small town, very like bubble like town, I guess you can say. So for me, coming to an area like Los Angeles has been crazy. Like it's definitely I think I'm still adjusting. I've been here like going on 7 years, so but I still feel like I'm still like trying to adjust to like that big city life, how different it is to growing up in a small town. I agree with a lot with what Dennis said, is just having the ability to teach and interact with both students and colleagues from even I have a lot of students that just move from different countries like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really amazing, especially for just learning about different cultures and being a music teacher. You know, that's what music's all about, just a very communal thing. But I do teach younger students. So, you know, like Dennis said, it is kind of isolating. For me, it's just like a lack of just being around, you know, adults during the day. It's mostly just on teacher
You're
mode.
hanging out with kids all day.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah,
social
pretty
life.
much. It is exhausting though, because, you know, and for me, like performance has always been my priority. Like just continuing to grow on my instrument, and I'm like a lifelong learner. Like I still study with musicians out here, and that's tough. Like coming home from a long day when you're exhausted and then having to better yourself and work on your own things, or whether it's writing a song with the band here. It's definitely challenging, but it's worth it. It's definitely
Yeah, it's an
stable.
awesome gig.
Yeah.
And it's cool, like practice time. Like when I teach guitar classes, I'm like, now I have to teach all these people who've never played a guitar before. Like I have to teach them like a bar chord or whatever chord or technique. So like reinforces it in my head a lot. They say, you know, you don't know something until you can teach it really well. Um, so it's kind of good like practice for being in a band, getting to reinforce like the basics of music and music theory and just rhythm and melodies and chord structures. um keeps us on our game as
Yeah.
musicians. And it's really cool. I don't know if you get this at elementary level, but like with high schoolers, I mean, they're people. Like
Mhm.
they have Spotify and they're listening to
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
So being a music teacher, I get this asked every class every year, like, do you play music? Are you in a band?
Yeah.
I go, oh yeah, you know, we just put out a new single. You should check us out. Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it's cool, like, you know, some kids end up liking it, and
Mhm.
like kids will come up and talk to me and be like, oh, Mr. F, your new song is so cool, or when are you playing a show, can I go? So like those little things make it pretty cool for sure.
It has to be
Yeah.
rewarding, right? Like especially when
Mm-hmm.
when you're teaching and you get that moment where the kid like gets it. Like oh wow,
Yeah,
like here it is.
all
They
that
locked
stuff you
in.
hear like that, 100% true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
that's cool. And Seth, what do you do? Are you a
Um,
full-time musician? Do you have a job in the daytime? What's your story?
in the daytime, I am a head chef at a hotel,
Nice.
and when I come home, I usually take a nap and then I work on some music. That's
So
pretty much my life.
I'm gonna go to this. Like, so I feel like being a chef is very creative.
Cooking and music, yeah, those
Yeah,
are
I mean,
things.
like again, I feel like there's a certain part of people's brains that just have it, and there's some who don't. That's me,
Mm.
don't have it. But yeah, like being a barber, being a tattoo artist, being just any kind of artist, being a musician. You're being you're a chef. That's awesome.
It's definitely an art form, and the longer I do it, the more I realize that because, you know, like Paul said, being a lifelong learner, you're constantly learning new strategies and new effective ways to, you know, be creative in your cooking, and it's rewarding as well, just like making music is rewarding, you know,
Hmm.
because you you feed somebody and, you know, it can make their day.
Yeah,
So just like listening to music, you know, it can change the way they're feeling, change the way they think about something, their perspective. So I think it all, like you were saying, you know, there's like left brain and right brain, they say. So
yeah.
I think
Left Brain
you're either
Loud song off 15
left
minutes
brain
in.
loud, yeah.
Do it.
There you go.
That song actually kind of ties into what we're talking about because the left brain, um, I believe the left brain, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think the left brain is the logical side and the right brain is the artsy side. So when I was saying left brain loud, it's like my logical side was trying to reach me, was trying to be loud in a way to tell me that this relationship or this this love that I have is something I need to think about, because logically it doesn't seem right, but you're in love. Does that make sense?
Yes, and you're right. The left side handles reading, writing, and calculation. Some call it the logical side of the brain. The right brain is more visual and deals in images more than words. So you guys are more right brain. I'm left.
Yes.
Guess so.
But that's cool. That's like when I saw the title of the song, I didn't like really think about it in depth, but that's really a cool like take on it. That's neat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Seth the genius. You heard it here.
What do you look up to any of the famous chefs out there? Like Chef Ramsay?
Chef Ramsay is he's something.
He's not going to watch this, don't worry. Unfortunately.
You don't want to hear about Seth's beef with Gordon Ramsay, dude.
Oh, is it real
Yeah, I got some real beef with that guy. I don't know. You can't. I can't. You can't put me around him. Also got to shout out my guy, Guy Fieri. He's a legend.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a lot of chefs that I really look up to. I kind of just go with, see TikTok videos and try it out, and kind of just do my thing. Yeah. I'm only 20, and
You're 20?
I'm 20. Yeah.
God damn it, man. I've never felt more.
Well, he gave you such a Gen Z answer. I watch TikToks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Jesus, you got your whole life ahead of you. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. So if I said, Seth, make me your go-to dish, what would that be?
My go-to dish?
Yeah.
Okay, this may sound weird, but when I was in high school, I was in a cooking class, and my mom had this recipe that she taught me. It's a cheeseburger casserole.
Okay.
And it sounds simple, but it's so good. So it's like a pasta dish, lots of chili powder. You cut up some dill pickles and throw those in there, and it tastes like a cheeseburger, but it's like a lasagna. It's really good. So that's my go-to dish.
All right.
It's kind of like a nostalgic, warm feeling, on a cold day.
Sure.
Family feeling. So I got to go with that.
Food is so good, and I wish I didn't like it as much as I do. Because like once you get to my age, even in your 30s, like you find food and you find beer, and you just get lazy and fat. It's terrible, but I mean, food is so good.
But it's great.
It's so good. It's so good. Like even bad food is good. Like I don't know.
All food is good.
Are you a Yingling fan, John?
No, not really. Surprisingly, I have
What
two
is-
brothers who love Yingling.
Yeah.
but
That
yeah,
doesn't
not-
exist out here.
I'm sure.
What
yeah,
is
they don't-
Yingling?
It's a lager.
Oh yeah, never heard of it.
Yeah, it's definitely native to this area. I think their family, some of the younger members of the family are kind of dipping their toes into the operations, and I think they're kind of expanding a little bit as far as their footprint goes. I know they've made some wild beers lately. Their flagship beer is the Yingling Lager, but they've made like some, let's see, I don't know what it was called. It was one was really weird. It didn't like Yingling to me, like it just represents like guys who wear flannel. Not that I want to, label people, but like
Don't look at me, Paul.
Dennis belongs in Northeast PA. He's
I'm part of the flannel community.
I'm gonna bring him home with me next year.
yeah, for sure. But so here it's called Bongo Fizz, and it is a
Bongo face. That sounds cool.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a cool can. It's got like an Adirondack chair with a dog on it and a parrot. But it's premium beer with natural mango flavor. And it's just like a lot of beers. There was one that was called well, they did a thing with Hershey's chocolate. They made a chocolate porter, and
Oh, that's
Hershey's
yeah,
is
duh. Yeah.
yeah, Hershey's from around here too. That's actually really good. I'm trying to think what the other one was. It was like called like Flaming Eagle or something like that. It was like a
Yeah, brother.
I don't know. It was just kind of out of character for like the Yingling brand, but um I'm not mad about it. I mean, I appreciate the risks, and you can kind of even relate that to music. When people create music and they put out an EP or an album, and then they write new music and release it, and maybe it's different than what they did prior, and everyone's like, oh, this sounds nothing like them, like this is
That's
dog
gonna be
shit.
us in
Like,
a little bit for sure.
yeah, well, I mean, like as artists, like who are we to tell
Yeah.
you like, oh, they do the same thing over again? You know, what was that band that got tore up like 2 years ago?
I mean,
Oh,
that could be anyone. That's like the tale as old as time, right?
yeah, it
You do
definitely is. But
something different, like it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
yeah,
Right.
it makes me like I get it, right? But it makes me mad that like people are artists and they should be like taking risks or changing things or exploring different things and um
I 100% agree with you on that. Like, I think the saying, don't be mad that it's over, be glad that it's happened.
right.
And that's it,
Mm.
like, when they came out with that, it maybe that album resonated with a lot of people. But artists change just like everybody changes. And I think you just kind of have to accept that.
Yeah.
I remember Slipknot would say that. I used to be like a big Slipknot head in like middle school and high school, and like they would take a lot of flack because like every one of their albums was like so different,
Yeah.
and they would just say like, "What? We made our first album like 20 years ago. You
Right.
expect us to be like the same
Right.
people? That's
Yeah.
absurd. Like, of course it's going to be different. Like life
Yeah.
is." And it's like, of course, right? And sometimes I think like I get in the headspace. I'm one of those people. Like, oh, I wish they just made another one of those albums. Like, why'd they have to change? But I think deep down, like, you really don't want the same album over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to say we want it, but I don't think people actually do. Because when they get it, like, what's a good example? Like, do we know Asking Alexandria in here for like the scene, the hot
Yeah.
topic shoppers like me?
Yeah.
Like they're I think of this. I love this band, but they have an album called The Black. It's like their third or fourth album, and it sounds a lot of the like that 2000s metalcore style of their very first album. And it's fine, it's good, but I just always end up going back and listening to the first album
Mm-hmm.
because it sounds the same.
Yeah, the band I was referring to was A Day to Remember. They got destroyed.
Oh, yeah, they got shredded on their
Yeah.
last album.
Yeah. And I really like their last album. I really do. I like
Mhm.
the ones prior to that. Like, I don't know. I think too, people like when a band releases their first CD, like, and people hear it for the first time, like they kind of like, what's the word I want to use? They identify with that, and that's the sound that the band is, and they love it, and like they want more of it. And then when they release a new CD, or maybe it's 2, 3, 4 years later, and it's different, they're like, you can't repeat that like experience again.
Right, that experience. Yeah, we were just talking about
Right.
how like when a song is written, it's like kind of a snapshot of that moment in time. So to go back and recreate it can be contrived or just too difficult. Yeah, that's super true. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've growing up, especially like in my high school years, college years, and even when I first started working full time in the industry and stuff, I would always attach songs to those moments or albums to those moments and experiences. And I was able to do it all the time, right? It was like I could, you know, not so much today, but there was years of my life where I could almost tell you what year the album came out. And I could almost get it within like a week of its exact release, sometimes even a couple days, just based on like the moment of my life that I was in.
Do you like, can I ask, do you like categorize your life in like the eras of music you've listened to? Or like, I know this phase of my life, I was really into this.
It's not so much. It's more if I hear a song, it will take me back to that part of my life. And I feel like I was able to do that back then because there were so many like first moments. There was like, you graduate high school, big part of your life. You're freshman in college, big part of your life. Like, you fall in love, big moment in your life. Graduate college, big moment in your life. Start your first full-time job, big moment. So you have all these big moments, and you're able to kind of like attach music and certain things to those moments. Whereas now, like, it's just different. Like, I could tell you, like, when my wife and I shared our first kiss, like, I'll never have a first kiss again with my wife, right? It can't happen. It's done. It's over with. It's 15 years ago. So it's like you get older, and these firsts kind of are more limited than they were when you're younger. And I just think it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I've never thought about that.
Like basically like less chances for those impressions to be made because for one, like we experience more as we get older. And then number two, I also think like in the music industry, which I think sadly it's so fast paced. Like it's like,
oh yeah,
people just listen to like 30 seconds of a song and then that's it. And like they're on to the next thing, or, very rarely, I think, do people even listen to full albums anymore.
Right.
Unless they're like
feels
really
like that, yeah.
into that artist. And yeah, there's just so much out there.
Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick. You released an EP, and back in the day, and even to this day, like when bands release new music, what they typically do is go out and perform it and expose it to people. You guys haven't even met as a band yet. Like, what does that landscape look like? Do you plan on eventually like doing shows, or what? I mean, this is weird. It's rare. It's rare, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're very much a product of the times. Like we're an internet band right now.
Yeah.
Like that's where this whole thing exists. We said tomorrow. What time? Noon?
Yes.
If we're at noon?
Yeah,
we're gonna do it. So Paul and I are kind of like, because we're the two in close proximity. We're gonna try and like rehearse some of the songs tomorrow. Like kind of with and without backing tracks. Like it's gonna be pretty like backing track dependent if we want to put on that full song experience. Or we're gonna have to figure out how can we perform an arrangement that sounds good with a drummer, a guitar, and singing. Which we just didn't think about really writing these first 5 songs because I guess we never expected to be in that position. Is that what you can say?
Yeah. It's just the project has gained momentum, and so like now, it's like how do we get our music in front of a bigger audience? How do we get more exposure? Because you can only do so much just on the internet. And ultimately, as for myself anyway, as a musician, like I want to play, I want to perform. Like it's not just about just putting out recordings, and let them live on the internet. Like I want to play it out, and there's nothing that beats that like live energy of live music. So yeah, Dennis and I, we've been really trying to, just in the meantime until we can figure things out, is just do some duo shows, play live, and just
Seth is saving up for his trip to Los Angeles to come perform with us.
Yeah, Seth, how do you feel about that? These guys are out there without you.
It's sad, honestly. I want to be with them
right now.
Too.
We want him here.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Really
it sucks that they're far, but it's my goal right now. I'm working towards saving up, and I live with 8 people in a house on campus, in Ontario. So I'm working on it, but it's on the way. I'm really hoping to fly out there, perform a few shows at least, and get lots of video, lots of photos while I'm out there. Make the most of it that we can before I have to come back. But it's definitely like this year. I'm hoping I can come out this summer. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Now,
so right now, I mean, it's like it's like January 2023. So we very much we exist on the streaming services, on Instagram where we met you at PMN_band. Last night we made our TikTok. Pretty much never. Follow us there.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, we're kind of building that online presence as a new band. I kind of almost feel like that's kind of regardless, even if we all were in the same city, it almost feels like that's the way to do it anyways. Like drum up the online presence that way when you can play a show, especially like we're in LA, it's so congested. Just getting a show in a closed skate shop is like competitive.
It's super competitive. Yeah.
Which is like where we are, which is like what
Right,
we're doing now, as musicians here. So, hopefully like once the planets align and we get ourselves together, we have that fan base, a
Right.
couple people, 2-3 people, however many, to come out to a show and when it's out.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
good.
yeah, I think like ultimately like to make this really happen, like we're very much geared towards like getting recognized by a label, getting signed to a label that feels right, and hoping that also pans out. But yeah, like I said, it's super competitive and really difficult to make that happen.
Yeah, as much as the internet makes the world smaller, it's I think it also makes it much bigger. It's
For sure.
it's oversaturated. It's like every idiot in the world has a podcast, right? Here I am just doing
And a band.
no, and it's cool. It's people like always say to me like, oh well, this is a creative outlet for you, and I don't really think of it as creative, but I guess maybe it is. Um, but it's so oversaturated. It's like how do you cut through the noise and it's such a great thing that Spotify and these platforms exist because you can be introduced to people 20 years ago you never would have been an option, right? We would never have met at all. Like
yeah, 5-10 years ago
yeah,
probably wouldn't have happened, right?
It's crazy how things change. So but like I mean, are you guys working as far as using the social media platforms, and are you doing like internet marketing to kind of push your music, or are you just kind of right now seeing how people you know absorb it?
A little bit of both. We're not like doing the paid Instagram ads just because I've heard those don't work out. So it's a lot of what you're doing. It's a lot of, okay, what labels do we want to look at? Okay, who are they following? Okay, let's go look on their posts. Like let's go dig around in the comments. Let's go comment. Let's like be part of the community. Um that's like the virtual way of how it happens in real life. Like you just got to be around.
Right.
Like if you want to get a gig, you got to be around. People need to see your face and know your name, whether or not they even know about you. So yeah, playing the social media games, being part of that. Not punk, that alt rock, hard rock, indie, punk
Grunge.
rock,
Yeah.
zeitgeist online. Is kind of how we're doing it for right now. That seems to be, I don't know, the path of least resistance. Is that the right way to think about it or even say it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think in your situation, we are not, you're not together. I mean, that's the best way to do it. It's a tool, in your toolbox, and it's an avenue you can, use to build a following. And I like the fact that you guys said you wanted to kind of like really build your social media pages out, so that way when you are out there, when you are performing, and people hear you and they go to your Instagram page, they can really at that point consume or have a lot to consume. They can really kind of, go through the music and go through the TikToks and the, thousands of photos or whatever you have going on. So that's smart.
Thank you. Trying. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm no industry genius, but I mean, I think it's good.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. And I think we're all like very much more concerned about, you know, just having loyal listeners, just a loyal fan base, like people that are genuinely interested in our songs and what we have to say. And just, getting just loyal listeners. not just like the random stream that comes up on the radio while somebody's at work or something like that.
Right.
But
yeah, the people who are like, oh, I feel a part of this, like this
For
thing
sure.
that's happening, as opposed to, oh, I'm on my Spotify playlist and, oh, what was that song? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
That's tough too. You said it before, no one listens to a full album, no one listens to a full song anymore. And it's like, it's so frustrating. And I'm guilty of it too. I grew up,
Same, for sure.
I grew up like listening to like a CD from, front to back, like song 1 to,
Yeah.
to song 12. And I think a lot of bands, recorded it with that in mind, with, people would have to listen to that
was
it
such
that
a
way.
cool thing.
Yeah, and it's like, you open up the, the CD case itself, and you take out the liner
See
notes
the
and
leaflets and
yeah,
the
the art and all that kind of stuff. There's like such a cool thing about that. And like, I'm old, right? We said that a thousand times now. Like, I grew up in it where, we'd go to the video store on a Friday night and we would rent videos. And, a date night consisted of renting a video and grabbing a pizza. And it was simple, right? And then like you go home and you put the movie on, and even if it sucked, like you still watched it because that's all you had. You still watched the whole freaking thing, even if it sucked, because that's all you had. Now, I mean, I'm sure you guys are the same way. You have Netflix and Disney Plus, and
I don't even
YouTube.
watch a full thing, even if it's good now.
It's like this FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's like, well, this sucks, and there's probably something better. And like, I spend more time searching for something to watch than I do watching it, and I hate that.
Oh wow, that's kind of true.
Like, think about it, right? Like, you finally find something, you watch the first 10 minutes of it. This sucks. Turn it off.
It's
and spend
amazing, but you're like, this sucks. Yeah.
Spend another half hour looking for something new, and then it's like, well, now it's fucking time for bed.
Yeah.
What do we do here? Nothing.
Totally.
I don't know. Try to write a new song, and hopefully that one does better.
But it's the same with music too. Like, I couldn't tell you the last time there's times where I'll listen to a song and it's like, okay, like this is good, but like, what's next? And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And as artists, I think at the end of the day too, like for me at least, like I partake in this songwriting because I just love the music, and I love creating, and if nobody ever hears it, like that's fine with me too. Like, I'm still fulfilled. Like, we're not trying to like, get rich or famous or anything. We're doing it just because we genuinely love music. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, today it's January 4th. This will probably be released in the next week or two. But we just started 2023. As a Happy New Year. Hope you had a nice Christmas.
Likewise.
I did. It was nice. Busy, but nice. I'm just happy. I took advantage of the weather this past weekend because it was like 55, 60 degrees here. Took down all the lights outside. No, yeah, but here it's warm. Took down all the lights outside. It's like Christmas never happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what are the plans for 2023? Like, what if you sat here and you said like, this is what we want to accomplish this year? What, I know you kind of mentioned earlier, but like definitively, like, what are your goals for this year?
So we've got the different level. We got the short term, the midterm, the long term. So yeah, it's January 4th. I don't know if someone's listening to this late January. We've got we're like recording and kind of producing our next EP right now. So February 14th, Valentine's Day, we got a little love song about a girl coming out. That'll be a new single. And we're trying to squeeze another one in there before then, like maybe like end of January. Okay. So like this is released and then next week. Another song. So those are like two kind of immediate songs. I don't know, do we say the names of the songs? Is that spoilers? Should we? Good, bad? I mean, Caught in a Web and Kiss. Okay. Whatever, I'm just gonna say.
Yeah. Don't worry, my 5 listeners won't break the internet.
All right, word. So this next song that's about to come out in like end of January, we're planning, is kind of a remix of one of Seth's songs. So Seth Silver, check out his whole catalog of music. we've redone one of his songs, Caught in a Web, made it more rocky, grungy. That will re-release under Pretty Much Never. February Kiss will be a little more of like a alternative rock, maybe more like indie. I don't know, like Jimmy Eat World, 30 Seconds to Mars. And then in our probably EP Volume 2, whatever it ends up being called. We're thinking like March, April.
End of March,
April, springtime. Yeah. And since Paul and I are teachers, we're living the good life. We're on winter break right now. So over summer break, will hopefully be like gigs. Let's get out there. Yeah. Let's have people hear some of the music live. Let's get Seth down here to the West Coast.
He's ready.
And do it. So yeah, ready. And then within all of that process, we're building like that term, if you've heard, like the electronic press kit, EPK.
Yep.
Just to like start marketing us to anyone who will take us, record labels, production companies, bookers, booking agencies. Trying to like build up our catalog right now. So that way when someone discovers us, it's not, oh, cool, you put out your first song or your first EP. All right, cool. Like, let me know when you've, had a little more skin in the game. We're in that stage right now.
Yeah. Again, building that whole book and have some people that can really consume.
Yeah. Did I miss anything, Paul, Seth? I think those are our goals.
That's it. Yeah. Dennis and I, we're going to also, be gigging as much as we can, even leading up to, even before summer. We're going to just try to get out there and, just really focus on that live component, instead of just, constantly creating music and not being able to play it. So we definitely want to be able to play that live. Yeah, I think that's about it. And, also like even, not just confined to California, like we've even toyed with the idea of coming back east, Pennsylvania. Northeast PA has an awesome music scene. I mean, I grew up in that music scene and like listening to groups like Tiger's Jaw and things like that. So yeah, that would also be awesome too. Not too far from Seth. Dennis can come out and we can make something happen. So
I got some hookups with some venues, man. I can I got the perfect spot for you. It's called the V Spot.
All right.
Yeah. It's called the V Spot. We'll get you in there. It's it's a smaller club. It's not even a club. It's a bar, but it's got like a nice stage, great sound system. That'd be sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I might know people on Tiger's Jaw too. We could rub elbows with them.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, totally. That will definitely hit you up like when we plan that. I mean, I come home fairly frequently to see family. My whole family is back in Pennsylvania. And yeah, if we can make that happen. I do have drums back home too, so that's kind of how I'm able to do that. Everything's kind of there for me.
Nice.
Guitar's not too bad to take on a trip, but yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some videos of you guys, performing on the IG.
Yeah, we'll send them your way.
Yeah.
So sweet. Well, guys, I mean, thank you so much for taking the time.
You kidding? Thank you for having us.
I think
this was fun. This was fun. This was awesome. I was nervous. This was fun.
Yeah.
I'm nervous every time.
Yeah.
Usually I have a few beers, but I'm like I overdid it during the holiday season. I just like every day or so was like, I'll have a beer or two. Just it's the holidays, right? It's the holiday season, And I'm like, I gotta calm down. I gotta calm down. So not that I'm doing dry January by any means, but but yeah, this is always a lot of fun. It's you never know where it's gonna go, but it's nice when people like want to talk about what they're doing and are excited about it, and I'm most excited to talk about it. So
yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, and like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing. I'll be following you guys online, and Paul, like I said, hit me up if you're ever coming home, and
100%.
We'll see if we can set something up. And remind me after we're done here to not go. I'll tell you something about Tiger's Jaw too.
Oh, for sure.
Ooh,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Secrets. We'll let you know when we update our bio. When Paul takes
do
punk.
That. Do that now. Do that right now.
Right now. All right.
you know, again, subjective. You know, people can.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a
Yes.
time.
I know, but yeah, you're not punk. You're more than that. So
Ah, there we go.
yeah. So, one more time, where can people find you online?
Instagram at PMN_band. So that's the initials. If you see like our stickers out in public, it'll say PMN. So Instagram, PMN_bands. TikTok, pretty much never. That's where we are right now. That's where we're popping.
Cool.
All streaming services, pretty much never. However big or small, Apple, Spotify, whatever you use, we're there.
Gotcha. And when do you guys perform live together? Pretty much never.
We're gonna say
No. It's a joke. Pretty much never.
oh,
As of right now, it's pretty much never.
I give up.
pretty much never.
Pretty much never.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's soon. I want it to
can't
be
believe
soon.
that went over my head.
I want it to be soon.
Pretty
That
much
was good.
soon.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much again. Best of luck with everything, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right,
Thank you,
Thank you
John.
so much.
Later, guys.
Peace.